I'm going to try something new, a way of painting that I hardly ever use, if ever, in fact. And I'm going to be doing this portrait of this sheep here and putting it together in a way that perhaps will give me the ability to create more of a realistic type painting rather than something that's a bit looser and a little bit more abstract. And so what if the tree isn't exactly in the right place? No, there's no trees in this portrait, but if I'm painting a landscape, I can move things around and the landscape is going to turn out just fine because I know what I'm doing and why I'm moving it. But here in this portrait, you can't just move things around because then it is no longer a portrait. My name is Vita Evenson and I paint grease. So this is going to be a time-lapse painting, and I just want to take you through from basically the beginning. I did not film the actual drawing out and putting things in the right place, but I did use a grid of 7.5 centimeters wide by 10 centimeters long. That fits perfectly on this canvas, and just tried to put everything in its place, and you'll see if I did a good job or not. I am shaking it up and painting differently as a way to kind of stretch my boundaries, trying new things, working in a different way to see if, in fact, it might be better for me. At least, at the very least, get the experience of how other artists use painting in this way. So what I have done so far in this is laid out a grid. It was about 7.5 centimeters by 10 lengthwise, and placed the sheep in those parameters from the reference photo. And even though I was very careful about putting everything in place, I still didn't get things in the right place. So it wasn't working from the very beginning, and I was somewhat bothered by this very beginning. The expression of the sheep, I mean, the sheep looks angry. And just not what I was after. I think if you go back and look at some of my older videos or listen to my morning musings, you know that I am always supporting. I really do believe this, that you need to know why you are painting something. There has to be a notan, not only a notan in a drawing to figure out where the lights and darks are, but the notan of your creativity as well. And that is just understanding what the heck you're doing. Why are you painting this painting? And that will be the underlying principle, the underlying energy behind what you're doing and the reason why you're laying the various brushstrokes down. So I have the grid. If you look closely down in the bottom right-hand corner, you can still see the grid lines, and decided that I would start at the top left square or rectangle and paint that in, and then move along and do it in the way that the realist painters do. And granted, I'm doing a terrible job at copying. I'm a bit sloppy, I'm off. I don't have it all mapped out correctly. I spent a lot of time working on this eye only to end up changing it, getting rid of it, because it was too far over to the left. And, did it look bad? No, I could have kept it that way and just changed the face of this sheep in the photo reference. But my purpose of doing this kind of painting was to see what it's like to paint by rectangle by rectangle, putting it all in and getting it pretty close to a finished painting. But I really do have a hard time doing it. I have learned that I want to paint in large shapes, large sloppy shapes, getting the basic shape of the dark, the basic shape of the ear, the basic shape of that little tuft of fur on the forehead of this sheep, just the basic shape of the eye and the nose and where everything sits, and then working it down. I don't paint with the idea that I'm now painting the eye. I am now painting an ear. I am now painting a muzzle. Those are not the thoughts that I go by. I usually paint with, here is a shape. It looks like this. It has this curve, this angle, this size, and it's about this value. And then after I get all the basic shapes in, I go in again and I refine those shapes and work them down and adding more shapes within that larger shape to create the painting that I'm painting. And I really do like working that way because it is more in tune with my philosophy of creativity. When you have an inspiration for a painting, it comes into your mind and it's very abstract. There's nothing holding it in place. You can do whatever you want with it in your imagination. As you work with the inspiration, as you work with the awareness that, boy, this is something that I'd like to paint, and you can do anything you want with it, and then you limit that creative spark a little bit more by creating thumbnail sketches and putting it on the grid size, meaning of the thumbnails. You may do square, or try to put this idea in a square, put it in a rectangle, landscape or portrait, and you begin to work it down. You figure out if you're going to use oil paints or acrylics or gouache, if you're going to what size canvas you're going to use, the actual colors and the tone of the palette that you want, and working it down to this stage where I'm at right now, which is the actual creating of it in the second chakra area, where it is you and your creativity putting this painting together. And it's quite a process, and I really, really do enjoy it. It just makes sense to me, and it works with the way that I go about my artwork and coming into this tiny little studio and working on these paintings. But I really did want to try doing it a different way and seeing how it works. And as you can see, I'm all over the place. So I'm not doing a very good job. I'm feeling stifled. I already know that this is not a process that I will incorporate in my painting, But I'm really glad that I am doing it because I'm seeing my limitations, I'm seeing the mistakes that I'm making. My basic drawing is off. I can feel it, I can sense it, I can't quite see it. I'm trying to measure with the tip of my brush. It's not coming together in the way that I wanted it to. So there I am again, measuring and trying to figure out why this isn't working. So that's how far I got with this one so far, and I've got some adjusting to do and fixing the drawing. Basically, I have to go in and reestablish that I am working on right now is too far over. So this is as far as I got today on this painting. I did come in afterwards and readjust the whole left side of the painting was just about maybe a ½ inch off, and I just pulled that in and just put everything back in place where it should be, so that I can come in the next time that I sit down and paint and put it together. It's quite an exercise. I am finding a lot of things that I notice about my abilities and where I'm at. And one of the things that I've always said is that I needed to really practice my drawing and getting that in place. I would like to just be able to measure better when doing portraits. When you're doing a portrait of any kind, you really do need to get all the proportions in the right place, and just a little bit off can throw the entire painting off. Everything that you're putting into it just doesn't quite come together in the way that it should. So it's kind of a different thing, okay? If you're an impressionist landscape artist, pretty much is what I'm doing. If a tree is off a little bit, it's okay. You don't care. You're working the painting to come together beautifully in the way that it needs to come together. But in a portrait of any kind, it's not what I want to do. It's what the portrait demands of me. It's a different play of that creative energy, and it's quite a challenge. I'm enjoying it. I really am. I like when I'm failing a little bit and learning the lessons, those beautiful, vital lessons that I need to become a better artist, to raise myself up in all sorts of ways, not just on my own canvas, but in my life as well. So if you like what I'm doing in these videos, please click the like and subscribe button and that little notification bell so you know when I have a new video up and out. Thanks so much for being here. Be inspired, be creative, be you.